Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Coming up, we're going to talk about some of the most frequently asked questions people have when thinking about Disney Vacation Club. Coming up next, from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, this is the Diz Unplugged Disney Vacation Club show. Today's episode is brought to you by the Timeshare Store. The Timeshare Store specializes in the sale and purchase of Disney Vacation Club properties. Their team of licensed real estate experts can help you with all your Disney Vacation Club needs. Call them toll-free at 1-800-550-6493 or visit their website at dvcstore.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show, coming to you from the Bob Varley Studio here in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined at the table this week by my good friends, Miss Jackie Gailey.
Hi, guys.
And Mr. Jerry Saito from the Timeshare Store.
Hi.
Welcome, everybody. I am working on about 3 hours of sleep, so I have no idea where this show is going to go. I'm just warning you up front. But as at the time that we're recording this, our first episode went up and seemed to do pretty well. So I've decided we are going to make this a regular addition to our offerings on the Diz Unplugged. It helps that in about, 3 hours, 4 hours, I will sign on the dotted line and officially become a Disney Vacation Club member.
Woohoo.
Nice.
So I was joking with people that I talked myself into it, basically, in those last shows that we did. And everybody I've told has said the same thing. I thought you were a member already.
Yeah.
So, no, I wasn't, but I am at 2 o'clock this afternoon. So, looking forward to that.
So if you hear celebration noises in the background somewhere,
Yeah, really. Very excited about it. I really am. I'm really, so pumped.
It's so fun. You're so tickled, and I love that. It's really fun.
It's great. And I bought, I did, the minimum 75 points direct through Disney because I wanted the membership. And I've got an offer in on a resale.
Yep, Boulder Ridge, Wilderness Lodge, 250 points.
I think so, yeah. And I noticed on the Disney Vacation Club forums on disboards.com, they said, watch out for add-on-itis, they call it.
That's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
Oh, yeah.
And they start adding on. And I just told Jerry before we started recording that, there's this one at Saratoga that looks really good. I think I'm going to put an offer in on it.
Yeah. It happens all the time. People will buy something before they get through right of first refusal, before they get through closing. They're ready to buy again because they see those vacations coming. They're like, oh yeah, I want that.
Well, it's like it's a little off topic for our show, but I guess not. Everybody on the boards has been saying, because people ask, how many points should I buy? Well, they say, sit down and realistically think. How do you vacation right now? How do you use, your hotel stays and things like that? And then what's the equivalent in using Disney Vacation Club? Take a look at the point charts, the time of year that you travel, the type of accommodations you want.
How many people do you travel with?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Exactly. And so when I did that, and I said, okay, well, I have family that comes down at least twice a year. That there's usually things that are not work related. There's usually twice a year that for 3 or 4 nights I will go stay on property. It's like when I'm not doing a hotel review, when I'm not doing anything like that, and I just want to go stay on property. And then there is, I try and be out in Alani at least once every year, once every 2 years. And so when I sat down and started factoring that in, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
And so then you start taking a look at, what's available. And I have a list of about 7 or 8 of them that were like, oh, that'd be good.
He's got it bad.
And well, it's if anybody who's watched the show for any length of time knows that there's no halfway with me. Right. There's the joke I always tell is there's no 5 on the dial. It's either 0 or 10.
Yeah.
I'm either all in or I'm all out. But I'm excited about this. I'm very excited about this. And some of these questions that we're going to talk about today are questions that I had. Now, I know enough about DVC that I think I'm a little more advanced than most people coming into the process. But there's still a lot that is confusing to me. There's still a lot that I don't know. And I will give a shout out again for our discussion boards, our DVC discussion boards on disboards.com. Incredible group of people and an amount of information. It's awesome. It is absolutely awesome, and it's a great community, and you should absolutely go check that out because I have been learning. I have spent more time on the boards in the last week than I have in the last year.
Oh, well, can I talk about how they're set up too now, the little changes we made over the weekend?
Sure.
So now when you guys go to our main forum list at disboards.com, you're going to see under the Disney Vacation Club section, you have to scroll down a little bit, but you're going to see that there's 5 boards there, and we have everything separated into different things. So there's buying, there's the rent and trade board, there's
Resort board.
The resort board, there's a thread on each of the resorts that either one of the moderators or one of the longtime posters keeps updated with things that are going on at that specific resort. And there's points charts, and there's, then you'll see one called Miscellaneous, and that has all kinds of threads in it with just all kinds of conversations that don't really fit into the other categories. But take a look in there, and they're real easy to navigate around to, and really good conversations, such great information.
Some great stuff in there. Some absolutely great stuff in there. So, all right, so let's talk about some of the questions that we came up with. The first one, and this may seem like a very basic one, but I know some of you watching are hardcore DVC experts, and especially with some of these initial shows, I'm trying to keep it, kind of top level, and assuming people don't know anything about DVC. So bear with us. We will dig into, the premium for a 2-bedroom lock-off, and all the other, things that have people up in arms right now. We will get to those things, but right now, for these first few shows, we're trying to keep things kind of get everybody on the same page, so to speak. So the first one on the list, which resort, okay, 3 hours of sleep, which resort should I pick?
So it's a really good question, and it really is going to boil down to, I think, 2 deciding factors. It's really how far in advance do you plan to book your reservations. If you're going to do reservations farther than 7 months, then I would say pick your favorite resort. That way you have the priority booking at the resort you really like. And if you choose you don't want to go there 7 months out, you can go anywhere. But at least you bought that resort that you can get into at that 11-month mark.
And for me, it was in deciding. Well, I didn't have much of a choice buying direct from Disney because Copper Creek is really the only game in town right now.
Right. Yeah.
But it's one I would have picked anyway. I love Wilderness Lodge, and I thought about Bay Lake Towers too. And I like Bay Lake Towers. I really do, over the Contemporary. But my last time staying in a DVC property that wasn't Aulani was over at, actually it was on what's now Boulder Ridge. It was the Villas at Wilderness Lodge. And I loved it. And so I just love that resort, love the feel of that resort. Was never a big fan of the rooms at the Wilderness Lodge. The hotel rooms were at one point very much like what the Grand Californian used to be like, very dingy, very like dank and dark, and obviously the DVC ones are not. So, but it really, it matters in terms of, because people are fiercely loyal to their home resorts.
They are. I agree with that because they will buy in because they absolutely love the property. But what's really nice is when you get a taste of a different resort, let's say you're fiercely loyal to the beach club, but then you jump over to Animal Kingdom you might just fall in love with Animal Kingdom and say, this is where we're going to stay. And then the next time you stay at, Copper Creek, you just absolutely love it. So they're all really quite amazing. I mean, it's hard not to like any.
But really, your home resort is about that 11-month booking window. At your home resort, you can book 11 months out. At other DVC properties, if you're not an owner there, that's not your home resort, you have a 7-month window.
Right.
Yeah, see, and I was making notes about it too, about the style and the vibe, but then also the proximity to what park is your favorite too.
Right.
Yeah.
So, because there's some that are within walking distance of Magic Kingdom, like Bay Lake Tower.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the Beach Club, and then there's the Boardwalk that are within walking distance of Epcot. So you want to think about the transportation too, not only that 7-month mark or the 11-month mark, but also that vibe, like what restaurants do you love?
Right.
And what they offer, which restaurants they offer, and that kind of thing, because all of the Disney Vacation Club resorts have restaurants on property.
Right.
So there's so many things to consider.
Yeah, and I said it's kind of a two-parter. You pick your favorite resort, or
Yeah.
the second part is economics. What's the best value? Where can I really get the most bang for my buck? And if
Yeah.
you're not booking more than 7 months in advance, it doesn't matter. Like, points are points. So Saratoga Springs is a great resort for economics. You still can use it anywhere, and people will buy there just to save a little extra instead of paying the premiums at some of the other properties.
See, and that was a big consideration for me because I very rarely will book anything 11 months out,
Yeah.
Disney or otherwise. So for me, it really didn't matter in terms of that because it's always going to be within 7 months. Sometimes it's going to be within 7 hours.
Right.
But,
I'm the same way. I book short term always.
so yeah, I didn't really, it didn't matter to me that 11-month window so much. But all right. But you also mentioned too, in the note you sent me, that if resort isn't a big deal to you, Saratoga Springs really is the best value right now.
Right. Current prices are some of the lowest for any resort. Vero Beach and Hilton Head have always been less expensive than the on-site properties, so they appear to be the best value.
But their
maintenance fees.
Their maintenance fees are sky high.
Right. So the trade-off is you save money now, but over the course of time, you're going to pay more in annual cost.
Right.
So in about 5 to 10 years, your cost would be more than if you would have bought Saratoga Springs.
Right. When you buy these places that are, on the beach on the eastern seaboard, they're going to get hit with hurricanes, which is why their maintenance dues are so high.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about another big question. Another confusion point is about use years. What is a use year?
So it's when the points reallocate on an annual basis. Your points start the beginning, the first day of that month, and then if you don't use them or don't bank them, they're going to expire that next year on that same day. So it's basically to make or keep you on track of using your package. If you're not going to use it, you want to bank the points. There's a deadline for when that is, but it's just an anniversary from when your points start or when they'll expire. So you kind of know how to keep track of your points.
Okay. So yeah, it's so like I chose on this contract I got direct through Disney, I chose a September use year. So I actually started with an extra 75 points, and then 75 points is available to me on September 1st.
Right.
So technically I have like 150 points I can play with right now.
Right. You could borrow from September to use now, or you can bank the current into next September and have them for after September.
Exactly.
So 150.
So that's the whole point of the use year. And I guess people generally, when they can, like to try, if they're buying multiple contracts, keep their use years the same just because it's easier.
Yeah, it's easier to manage. Everything's under one membership number, and when you log into dvcmember.com, everything's under that one account, one login. It's an easier way to book reservations. You can't have two different use years. It would show up under dvcmember.com, but you'd have two different
contracts,
accounts. Yeah, exactly.
And then you have to be really careful because if you're going to bank,
Right.
you need to keep your times of when you need to bank.
And
separate.
Disney's really good with keeping you updated. They'll send you emails, and when you log into DVC Member, it's going to say notification, and you click on it, it'll say you need to bank these points. Like they do keep you updated very good, but it's just one thing you have to watch.
Yeah.
Well, and I think a question, it's not in our list, but it was a question that I had initially. that I think we should talk about. I just said that I bought direct from Disney for those 75 points to get the member perks. And then I'll buy additional points through resale. And this is a strategy a lot of people right now are doing because Disney changed a few years ago. Used to be when you bought resale, it was DVC membership. Well, a couple years ago, they said, no, not anymore. You're not going to get any of the perks. If you want the perks, you've got to buy direct from us. And so, and I think it's an important discussion because I'll be honest with you. Do I really care about member nights or, the after hours parties when I can do that already? Do I care about the dining discounts when I'm an annual pass holder and I have Tables in Wonderland?
Right.
Which is, I get more with Tables in Wonderland.
You do, yeah.
Do I care about the merchandise discounts when I have an annual pass already? Do I care about the DVC member cruises on Disney Cruise Line? No, I really don't. So why did I do it? I wanted to be a member. I wanted to be a member.
That card is a big deal.
It is. And I think among I know, but I think among hardcore Disney fans,
right.
I am one of those. And I just think it's important to acknowledge that's okay. I mean, it's your money.
It's
and
a personal preference, really.
There is something about being able to say, I'm a full member. That is very appealing to me. Now, for you, that may not be the case, but I see you biting your lip.
Well, I hear that quite often when talking to clients, and they want to feel like they're a member, that they bought from Disney Direct, and they're missing something. And those perks and benefits are nice, but when you buy through resale or direct, you're still treated the same. You still use the same member services or the member online DVCmember.com.
It's just the perks.
It's just that card, and the card is great. I mean, I have the card. I've been a member since 2004, but you would never know the difference if you buy. I mean, yeah, if you try to go to a member event or use the member cruises, yeah, okay, you'd know the difference. But in terms of the rooms, they're not going to treat you any differently. The quality of the vacation, like it's wonderful. You really don't. You lose those perks, but you don't lose the magic. It's all there.
Right.
That's a perfect way to say it.
You lose the perks, but not the magic.
Not the magic. Yeah.
And so I would never. I realize that it's a lot of money to spend for a membership card.
Right.
But I'm honest with myself about that. Would I do a member cruise? Probably just not on points, because doing the other resorts, doing Adventures by Disney, doing Disney Cruise Line, using your points is a terrible, 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 terrible deal. You do not get your value at all. It is just better to pay the cash and do it.
I agree.
And you can on the member cruises. You don't have to use your points. If you're a member, you can still go on the cruise and pay cash.
Right.
But
now, if you buy resale, they won't allow you to book even on cash to those member cruises. So that's like direct purchase only.
Right.
So resale buyers can't go on the member cruise.
Good point.
One of the things that they took away for both resale purchasers and direct from Disney purchasers that I was the most upset about was the free valet parking.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
Oh my gosh, I was so bummed because I thought that was so cool that you didn't have to buy Tables in Wonderland if you didn't want to. And I felt really special to be able to park, valet and go to a restaurant and not have to pay for it. You just tip the guy. And I thought that was so cool. And when they took that away, I was like, that's it. But I mean,
and that's the thing, they can take perks away at any time. So
we didn't join for the perks. Yeah, we joined for the magic, like you said. That's
a tagline.
Yeah, right.
Is.
And I apologize for the noise. Abby, my dog's in here with us, and geez,
dogs happen.
Yeah, dogs happen. All right, let's move on. This was a question I actually asked Jackie because I didn't know the answer to it last week in text. Can I add the dining plan to my DVC reservation? And it turns out, yes, you can.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can pick any dining option plan that you want to add to a reservation. So, yeah, no problem at all.
But Jackie, you mentioned that you have to pay for that in full at the time of booking?
You do. Yep. As soon as you add the dining plan, and it has to be for the entire stay for everyone in the room, and you have to pay for it all right away. So,
do you have to pay for it when you book it, or can you?
When you book it, as soon as they add it on.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was looking that up because that was one of the big things I wanted to know. So when we used to travel from Seattle, we used to get the dining plan because, nobody lived close enough to grocery shop, and the whole Amazon grocery thing, that wasn't a thing way back then. So it was a whole drama to go to the grocery store, and we couldn't be bothered with it. So, we always added it. And so I was researching to see if anything had changed with that. And they have on their site that if you add the dining plan, as soon as they add it to your reservation, it has to be paid in full.
Right. But not, I think, so you can book the reservation, but let's say a month later you decide, you know what, we want to add the dining plan.
Yes.
You don't have to do it at the time you book your reservation.
Within 48
but whenever
hours.
whenever you add the dining plan, it must be paid for in full.
That's
Correct.
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
That's
you can add the dining plan whenever you want.
Right.
You can do that
up
with
to 48 hours before your arrival date.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and they're real stringent on that. So there's no exceptions on that 48 hours. It used to be 3 days. So it used to be 72, but now it's only 48. So,
And I think, honestly, I really think the dining plan only makes sense from my perspective if you're in a studio.
yeah.
If you have a one bedroom and you've got that kitchen and you're not using that to defray some of your meals, you're wasting a massive benefit
Yeah.
Yeah.
of
I
having
agree.
a full kitchen.
Yeah. I agree.
Fully stocked kitchen too. So, all right.
You can also add, just to throw this in there, you can also add the Disney transportation, the Magical Express. So any reservations you can throw that on there too.
Right.
So anyway.
Yeah.
Do I get in the parks, or there's some discount for park tickets?
So no ticket discounts for DVC members or resale, doesn't matter. You can get an annual pass discount if you have the member card. So I believe they're offering like a Florida resident, and I think it's the gold card discount. So, it is a nice savings, but there's no
but only
ticket
Florida
discounts.
resident, though.
Correct.
Yeah. So if you're
But
a
it's not a
DVC
ticket. It's only for the annual pass.
Yeah, exactly. I remember a few years ago they did an amazing annual pass discount
Oh, yeah.
that I couldn't even believe my eyes. But I haven't seen. We only saw that the one time.
They've done
So-
it twice, and I did the renewals both times,
Yeah.
and then it was a sticker shock when I went back to renew it at
Yes.
thinking the DVC member rate, and it was not
And
even
it was
close.
gone.
Yeah.
I was bummed about that because that was a substantial amount of money. I mean, I feel like it was like a 40%.
It was like it was
savings.
about half price. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It
It
went
was
for
really, it was unheard of. I couldn't believe it. And there were 4 of us, so we all needed them. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a score. I have to just buy them, even though we don't even need them. I have to buy them and
Right.
put them in the drawer because
it was such a good
we're going to
deal.
need them.
Yeah.
It's such
Yeah.
a good deal. But I haven't seen. So that's the thing, is that you have to be a Florida resident to get these. So even if you're a DVC member, if you're not a Florida resident, also
If you have the DVC membership card, you can get a discount.
just the DVC discount.
Yeah, right. It's, I believe, the same as, again, the
price?
Florida resident rate, which is, again, I think it's like $850 if I'm not mistaken. I don't want to throw, I guess, prices
Yeah,
out
yeah.
there because it can change, but anyway.
Okay. Now, what are the policies regarding cancellation? You've used your points, you've made your reservation, now you have to cancel. How does that work?
So you can cancel outside of 30 days before your check-in date. So if you wanted to cancel, your points would go back into your account. You can reuse them for another reservation, 7 to 11 months in advance, or next week or whatever you'd prefer. So they just go back into your account. But if you do cancel within 30 days of check-in, Disney puts a little bit of a penalty. It's called hold status, and that means that you can rebook, and the next time you use those points, it's for a 60-day window or a 2-month window. So you don't get the 7-month or 11-month, you just get the 2 months to book those points that were canceled within that 30-day window.
What if I don't use all my points 1 year, or I want to go on a different vacation. This is where people need to understand that you can, obviously you can bank points. We talked about that, but you can also rent your points out.
Right.
I was planning to go out this year, but we're not, and I have these points, and I think I'll just make some money on them.
Yeah, you can rent out the points. There's a great market for that, lots of demand. So if you needed to unload points for a particular year, just be in contact with our office. We can help you. Sometimes people find that they may not use it for a few years. There's other options. You can bank the points with RCI. It's an outside exchange. There's over 2,000 timeshares outside of Disney. So if you find that you might lose points, renting's the best option, but you can also use an outside exchange called RCI, and that's other timeshares around the world, and that gives you an extra 2 years on the points.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
See, I'm learning something even as I sit here. So I planned my trip, and I'm 25 points short. What can I do?
So Disney will rent you points. So sometimes, let's say you've borrowed your points, you're short 25 points. Well, let's say you're short 10 points. You can buy points from Disney. I believe they're charging $19, but they'll let you buy some extra points just for one-time use to fulfill that reservation. Let's say you're completely tapped out of points and you need just a few extra. Another option is, again, contact our office. We can help you with fulfilling that missing night or two or three or whatever it is. We can transfer points into your account. We can help you get that.
So, but how many points if I'm short can I rent from Disney?
24 is the max.
24 is the max.
Yeah. So
anything more than that, then you got to
use an
reach
outside.
out to you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. This was also a question I had. Can I buy multiple contracts?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. That is a common thing that people do. They'll buy one location, then they'll buy a second, or even the same property, just in two different size increments. So yeah, that's pretty common. Let's say you have a family, you want to give one child one and the other child the other. You can buy a 200-pointer here, 200-pointer, again, another add-on, and then will it to them or deed it to them, or yeah. So you can definitely have two different packages for a multiple purchase.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's a good place to stop here. I think we'll do another one of these as well. And again, I understand this is not, drilling deep into the caverns of DVC. But these first few shows, this is kind of what I want to do. And it's also helping me get, I'm used to the shows that I do. I'm used to being the expert, and this is unusual for me because I'm kind of, like I said, very familiar with DVC, certainly understand what it is and generally how it works, but not as a member. I'm just coming into that. So it kind of gives me a perspective that's unusual for me when I do these shows. So, but I also think that can be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it's kind of nice to be in that position.
It's kind of fun for you. Yeah, it's kind of fun because then there's a whole
something new to
world.
learn. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like a whole brand new world.
Exactly.
Oh, it's so
Try
fun.
and understand it. So
yeah.
All right, so that will do it for this episode of the Disney Vacation Club show. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you again next week. Thanks for being with us.